Portugal, you can recognize.
Dear delegates, honorable chair, distinguished guests, the delegation of Portugal is in favor of resolutions because that this resolution proposed provides helps with issue by avoiding discrimination and giving an extra help to who may need it. Also, the resolution tries to tackle the issue in different ways, but the resolution itself does not explain this solution good enough. In order to be an acceptable resolution, should answer some basic questions and also to finish with this point.
Thank you, Delegate. Due to time constraints, the delegate will be responding to a maximum of 1 point of information. For those searching the House, please do raise your placards now. Since there are no delegate, do you wish to give the floor back to the chair to another delegation? Thank you, Delegate. You may now take your seats. The floor is now again open debate. Any delegation wishing to make a speech for or against this amendment, please raise your placards now. Delegation of Czech Republic, you can recognize them.
Honorable chairs, the delegation of Czech Republic believes that the resolution has several problems. To begin with, we believe that the fourth clause will make the discrimination subject even worse, because it obligates companies to employ disabled people by the monetary gratification they will receive, and not by the capacities these people are able to show. This delegation believes that by treating these people differently, monetary-wise in their job places, people will know that there is a difference between them and the workers suffering from this disability. In addition to all this, it does not expose any organizations that would carry out all the activities proposed, or how much those services would cost to the countries. That's why this delegation believes that this resolution should be voted against, even if this delegation protects the right of people suffering from this syndrome.
Thank you, Delegate. Due to time constraints, the delegate will be entertaining a maximum of 1 point of information. If there is such in the House, please do raise your placards now. Since there are no delegates, do you wish to give the floor back to the chair for the delegation? Thank you, Delegate. You may now take your seat. Due to time constraints, we must now be moving into voting procedure. Admin, please take your voting positions. Order, please. Any delegation wishing to vote for this resolution, please raise your placards now. You may lower the placards. Every delegation wishing to vote against this resolution, please raise your placards now. You may lower your placards. Please. Delegate, please, Kenya, lower your placard. Thank you. And then a delegation wishing to abstain from voting, please raise your placards now. You may lower your placard. With 21 votes in favour, 10 against, and 1 abstention, this resolution has passed and clapping is in order. Thank you, delegates. We'll now be entertaining a break until 12:50, so go enjoy a bit tonight.
No sé. No sé. Que en verdad no lo sé. No sé, en verdad.
Delegates, come to order, please. Delegates, seat the point. Delegates, please sit down.
Pero ¿por qué no me estuvieras aquí? ¿No te puedes ¿Tiene da miedo? Da igual que tú le explicas que no, que aquí.
Delegations, as a quick notice, we are live streaming in YouTube. And now we're moving forward into the next resolution, which is a question of the pink tax from Episode Committee, submitted by the Delegation of France and co-submitted by the New Zealand delegation. Can the Delegation of France please come to the floor and make his speech?
Honorable chairs, fellow delegates, and distinguished guests. The Delegation of France is in favor of this resolution against paying tax, since France believes that efforts should be made to solve this issue. It is poorly kept a secret that retail campaigns often target female consumers due to the antiquated idea that women like to shop and spend more money than men. Perhaps it is a better kept secret in consumer sales. However, it is not that women face more targeted advertising, but that items that women buy often cost more than identical or very similar men's products. This simply isn't fair. The paying tax contributes to economic inequality between men and women, already keeping in mind that the wage gaps put women at disadvantage when it comes to purchasing power. The Delegation of France strongly believes that this resolution can help eliminate the paying tax and the tampon tax, which is another issue that should be considered in the realm of paying tax. For instance, the first clause, calling out brands that perpetuate in a system of discriminatory gender-based pricing. By calling out brands, we can encourage them to change their way of approach and make them realize that what they're doing is wrong. France also believes that by not separating products by gender but by need and type, this can bring us closer to equality. Why should women pay more for pink products with the exact same ingredients? Does it really cost that much more money to make them pink? Finally, the delegation also believes that by lowering the tax on sanitary towels and tampons, we can make hygiene products more accessible for less developed countries and reduce period poverty. We hope that member states vote in favor of this resolution. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. Is the Delegation of France open to points of information?
Yes.
The Delegation of France will be entertaining with any no points of information. Any delegation wishing to make a speech for or against, any delegation wishing to make a point of information, please raise your placards now. Delegation of China, you've been recognized.
Does the delegation of France not agree that if the only difference between the product was the color of the product, that you should just buy the different color of the product, unless the product in this case this issue is not really a problem?
Yes, this could be a solution, but often females do have, for instance, longer hair, for instance with shampoo, that they do need different ingredients sometimes. But it still doesn't make it fair that they're paying more for same type of products.
Permission to follow up?
That would be granted.
Does the delegation of France have agreed that if the products have different ingredients and the clothing, and for example in shampoo, I think most member states would agree that men tend to put less care into their hair products than females do. Does the delegation of France believe that because these products are different, they should have a different price tag?
Yes, but there are also different examples. For instance, with razors, and female razors are usually less quality and more expensive, and they're used for the same purpose. So with shampoo, I must agree, but there are many other products that have this issue.
Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. How does the delegation want to yield the floor back to the chair or to another delegation?
To another delegation, to New Zealand.
Does New Zealand want to yield the floor? Thank you.
Honorable chairs, dear delegates, and distinguished guests. Recognizing the green task as an agency form of institutional discrimination and mirroring my sustainable development 4 and 5, its objectives are to have quality education so all children have the opportunity to have a future and deliver equality so boys and girls have the same rights. This delegation thinks that the green task is a problem that we have to try to solve as soon as possible. This is why the delegation of France and New Zealand have national solutions. New Zealand has been trying to change this during the last few years. New Zealand has been providing free cleaning and hygiene products in schools across the country since last year. 25 million New Zealand dollars will be a market and scheme will be extended to the whole country until 2024. This initiative will help to end the menstrual poverty suffered by 1 in 12 school girls. These two obligations employs businesses to manufacture more and different products. Also require and encourage the member states to keep recognizing menstrual products as luxury and acknowledge it as essential. This is why this obligation employs all the delegates present to vote in favor of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. How does the delegation want to yield the floor back to the chair or to another delegation? Does Italy accept the floor? Okay, Italy will be recognized.
The delegation of Italy totally supports the resolution because there is no reason for breaking equality between different genders. So this is the reason why we support also the clause number 3.
Thank you, Delegate. How does the delegate want to yield the floor back to the chair or to another delegation? Thank you, Delegate. Now in open debate, all delegation wishing to make a speech for or against this resolution as a whole, please raise your placards now. Delegation of Turkey has been recognized.
Women all over the world get discriminated at their jobs, houses, or streets. That is why it is extremely important that taxes do not discriminate them as well. The Delegation of Turkey believes that the passing of this resolution will improve the living conditions of millions of women around the world, and what countries such as Kenya, India, or Colombia, which are not the most developed ones, have shown us is that you don't have to be a global power to do things right and to be fair between men and women. That's why we encourage everyone to vote in favor of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Is the delegation of Turkey open to points of information?
Yeah.
The delegate will be entertaining with any and all points of information. Any delegation wishing to make a point of information, please raise your placards now. Tina's there, no placards up. How does the delegate want to yield the floor? Thank you, Delegate. We're still in open debate. All delegations wishing to make a speech for or against this resolution as a whole, please raise your placards now. Delegation of Japan, you've been recognized.
This delegate supports this resolution as it's not fair on women in different nations to have to pay more money on basic sanitary products that all human beings deserve. The average woman in America pays $1,000 a year on paying tax for products that don't even need to be separated by gender. The clauses in the resolution make fair points such as the removing the gender division on sanitary products. This could greatly help reduce the problem of paying tax in all of the nations represented here today.
Thank you, Delegate. Is the delegation of Japan open to points of information?
No.
Thank you. How does the delegation want to yield the floor back to the chair or to another delegation?
To the chair.
Thank you, Delegate. There is still an open debate. Any delegations wishing to make a speech for or against this resolution as a whole, please raise your placards now. Delegation of Austria will be recognized.
The delegate of Austria believes that the delegation of Austria believes that pink taxis shouldn't be called pink taxis, instead
Delegate, please keep going with your speech.
my speech is that pink taxis shouldn't be called pink taxis, instead magenta taxis, because it's a primary important thing and magenta is a primary tool.
Thank you, Delegate. Is the delegate open to any points of information?
Any other?
The delegate will be entertaining with any and all points of information. Any delegation wishing to make a speech wishing to make a point of information, please raise your placards now. Delegation of China, you've been recognized.
as a delegation, I believe that magenta is a color way to close the pink in order to remove the pink text. Another color should be used which is not close to the pink color.
Look, Delegate of China. With colors, it's bigger than black and white. It's a problem with the whole world life. We can't change overnight, but we gotta start somewhere.
Thank you, Delegate of China. Thank you, Delegate of Austria. How does the delegation of Austria want to yield the floor back to the chair or to another delegation?
To Argentina.
Does Argentina accept this proposal? Okay. Now we're still in open debate. All delegations wishing to make a speech for or against this resolution, please raise your placards now. Delegation of Chad, you've been recognized.
The delegation of Chad actually believes that pink tax is not real. Also, this resolution does not. It's not, let's say, great. Encourages making products that can be used on both men and women. I'm pretty sure the citizens of Chad would not be happy to wear the same clothes as women, as this would be degrading. And we believe that there are no taxes on tampons, and if you have your period, you should be ashamed of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Is the delegation of Chad open to any point of information?
No.
In that case, thank you, Delegate. Does the delegation want to yield the floor back to the chair or to another delegation?
To Pakistan.
Does Pakistan accept this proposal? Okay, in that case, we're still in open debate. All delegations wishing to make a speech for or against this resolution, please raise your placards now. Delegation of Cuba, you've been recognized.
Honourable chairs and fellow delegates, the Cuban delegation encourages other delegations to vote in favor of this resolution. Cuba believes that it is creating a huge problem referring to gender equality in their economy. This is affecting most of the countries around the world. There are many women that are paying a lot for things that should not cost that much. Cuba believes that this has to stop. All the people should have the same rights and therefore prices. It should not depend on the gender. Equality is very important for the rest of the nation.
Thank you, Delegate. Is the delegation of Cuba open to any source of information?
No.
Thank you, Delegate. In that case, does the delegation of Cuba want to yield the floor back to the chair or to another delegation? Thank you. Now we're in open debate. All delegations wishing to speak for or against this resolution as a whole, please raise your placards now. Delegation of South Korea, you've been recognized.
Honorable Chair, fellow delegates, and esteemed guests, the delegation of South Korea fully endorses France's resolution. We live in a world of inequalities based on uncontrollable biological factors. The pink tax only helps aid these inequalities and splits our world population up by something that should not define the economic landscape we as people have to navigate through every day. We encourage other delegations to approve of this resolution and help create a brighter, more equal world for our future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Is the delegation of South Korea open to any points of information?
Not currently.
Thank you. In that case, does the delegate of South Korea yield the floor back to the chair or to another delegation? Thank you. We continue with the open debate. So all the delegations wishing to make a speech for or against this resolution, please raise your placards now. Delegation of China, you've been recognized.
Honorable Chair, fellow delegates, and esteemed guests. China believes that men and women should have the same rights. And that's why China believes that the topic of gender equality, I think that can be important. However, the delegation of China believes that there are that certain improvements to this resolution could be made. For example, in clause 3.3, in clause 3, subclause 3 from clause 3, it is stated that there should only be one color if the product is the same. The delegation of China believes that this would hurt the economy of both China and other companies heavy on both China and companies and countries heavy on production a lot. Why should consumers not get the option of multiple colors to choose from? Who says that everyone wants to use a product by the same color? And to come back to how it's hurt the economy, by only having one type of color, there are less products being made because there's less differentiation. This would hurt the economy of many countries if they're only allowed to make one color of a product. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Is the delegation of China open to any and all points of information?
No.
Thank you. Does the delegate want to yield the floor back to the chair or to another delegation?
I yield the floor to Chad.
Does the delegation of Chad accept this proposal?
No.
No? Okay, in that case, as the delegate of China wants to yield the floor back to the chair?
I yield the floor back to the chair.
Thank you, delegate. We're still in open debate. So all the delegations wishing to make a speech for or against this resolution as a whole, please raise your placards now. Delegate of Japan, you've been recognized.
The Delegation of Japan would like to reaffirm its commitment to this resolution and to social progress on this front again. We have heard some protestations from other delegations on minor issues, and the exaggeration of this, for example, the fact that point 3 of clause 3, the rule about colours, the idea that this would have any serious economic effect is not based on any reality. There are no parts of this resolution that will cause any trouble. It will only further progress our society and improve the lives of its people by ensuring that we all live in a world where we can be judged purely based on our character. Pig tax is something that affects people unnecessarily and unfairly, and this resolution certainly helps combat that. There are no downsides to this resolution, and we certainly don't believe that any of the points taken by the delegations against this resolution can be considered with any legitimacy whatsoever. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Is the delegation of Japan open to any and all points of information?
Yes.
All delegations wishing to make a point of information, please raise your placards now. Delegate of Costa Rica, you've been recognized.
Can the delegate of Japan explain again why it doesn't have problems with the clause 3 subclause C, please?
Why we do not have a problem? Sorry, if you can repeat that.
Can please the delegate rephrase or repeat?
Can the delegate of Japan explain again why it doesn't have problems with the clause 3 subclause 3?
Unless I'm mishearing you, I believe you're saying that we do have problems. You were expressing the fact that there is no problem with this part of the resolution. We do not believe that, as the Chinese delegation has described, it will cause any economic effects. We don't see how the colour of the product can affect how effective it is and how popular it is. Therefore, will affect the overall income of companies producing that product.
Can the delegate rephrase the answer to the question, please?
Can please the delegate rephrase the question again?
We don't see any problem with Part 3 of Clause 3. It won't cause any problems with the economy. There's no evidence to suggest that.
Thank you, Delegate. How does Delegation of Japan move to you, floor?
To the chair.
Thank you, Delegate. Now, we're moving into voting procedure of this resolution as a whole. So please, admins, take your positions. Please, admins, take your positions. All delegations wishing to vote in favor of this resolution, please raise your placards now. All those delegations wishing to, lower your placards. All those delegations wishing to vote against this resolution, please raise your placards now. And blow your placards, please. And all delegations wishing to vote abstention. Blow your placards. So these resolutions with 21 votes in favor, 6 against, and 3 abstentions does pass. Clapping is in order.
Order, please. We will now be debating the resolution submitted by Singapore in the question of quality education. The Delegation of Singapore, please take the floor and make a speech for your resolution. Honorable chairs and fellow delegates, the Delegation of Singapore is conscious about the importance of having quality education, although many countries still don't have this yet. Singapore invites all members present here today to vote for this resolution so that they start following these measures which are accessible and safe for everyone. Thank you, Delegate. Does this delegate offer herself have any points of information? No. This delegate hasn't offered herself any points of information. Delegate, do you wish to give the floor back to the chair or to another delegation? To Costa Rica. Delegation of Costa Rica, do you accept the gift?
Fellow delegates, honorable chairs, education has been, at least in Costa Rica, a basic human right since the early 50s. But sadly, we know that this is not the predominant situation. It's so sad that in many countries people are limited since their childhood because of ineffective education. This, obviously, in the cases in which children are so lucky to have access to this education. Because of this sad fact, our country will obviously support every kind of measure in order to give those children the opportunity to fight in this competitive world with the proper tool, which is knowledge. Everyone should have access to education, regardless of its gender, economic situation, or religion. Costa Rica fully supports this resolution and invites all the other member states to vote in favor of it in order to help all those children that unluckily are not having the beautiful privilege of learning. As long as we continue living in an unsolidary world, we will continue being here discussing the problems instead of solving them. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Is this delegate open to any points of information?
No.
This delegate has opened himself up to any and all points of information. If there are such in the House, please raise your placards now. Turkey, you'll be recognized. In the operative clause 4 to clause C, it says that this resolution will invite this educational system to be disseminated by economic and technological conditions in undeveloped countries. So my question is, how would this resolution improve the technological conditions in these kind of countries?
Can the
delegate of Turkey please repeat or rephrase the question? How will this resolution improve the technological conditions of undeveloped countries?
As this delegate has mentioned, solidarity is a very important part of this resolution. Of course, these countries don't have the capacity of applying these technological solutions to education, but if the most developed ones donate this technology, then this problem will disappear.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Delegate. How does this delegate receive the floor? Thank you. We are now in an open debate. Any delegation wishing to make a speech for or against this resolution, please raise your placards now. China, you may recognize.
Honorable chairs, fellow delegates, and esteemed guests, the Delegation of China believes that educating people is an enormous part of efforts in harmonious socialist society. China has always regarded education as a top priority, and since we have been handling the education of our people extremely well, especially considering the enormous population in China, we would be more than happy to provide training and opportunities and scholarships for other developing nations, which we have been doing for the past decades. While also focusing on the quantity, the Delegation of China would like to note that if this resolution is passed, which we strongly hope happens, member states must consider the quality as well. The use of modern techniques like intelligent campuses, which is also mentioned in this resolution, can be a major part of it. The Delegation of China urges member states to vote in favor of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Is this delegate open to any points of information?
No.
Okay, thank you. How does this delegate receive the floor? Thank you, Delegate. We are now back in open debate. Any delegation wishing to make a speech for or against this resolution as a whole, please raise your placards now. Israel, you may recognize.
Honorable chairs and distinguished delegates, Israel agrees with this resolution as Israel has its own program of education and equality for females. I think it's very important to change it as soon as it says the same education as men. Israel also agrees with point 3b as children deserve this cheap, safe and simple way to return home. The delegation of Israel encourages all delegations to vote in favor of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Is this delegate open to any points of information?
Yes.
This delegate is open to any and all points of information. If there are such, please raise your placards now. Since there are no delegates, how do you receive the floor? Delegate, does the delegation of Congo accept you? Take the floor, please.
Honorable chairs, fellow delegates and guests. This delegation thing is so sad that in many countries people are limited since their childhood because of ineffective education. Children in the Democratic Republic of Congo have to combine housework and education, to the point of working all day to help their family and having to go to school at night or even not having the opportunity of going. Education is something we cannot live with. All children must have the opportunity to study regardless of their race or religion. Because of this sad fact, our country will obviously support every kind of measure in order to give those children the opportunity to fight in this competitive world with the proper tool, which is knowledge. Everyone should have access to education, regardless of gender, economic situation, or religion. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Does this delegate open herself up to any points of information?
Yes.
This delegate is open to any and all points of information. If there are such in the House, please raise your placards now. Since there are no delegate, how do you receive the floor?
Back to the chair.
Thank you. We are now back in open debate. Any delegate wishing to make a speech for or against this resolution, please raise your placards now. Delegation of Argentina, please take the floor and make a speech for or against this resolution. Delegation of Argentina, please make a speech for or against this resolution. Delegation of Argentina. Delegation of China, please make a speech for or against this resolution. South Africa, please make a speech for or against this resolution. Fellow delegates, the delegation of South Africa is in favor of this resolution, as we have always encouraged education of the country, and we encourage all the delegates present here to pass and support this resolution. Thank you. Thank you, delegate. Is this delegate open to any points of information? No. How does this delegate wish to use the floor? Thank you. Any delegation wishing to make a speech for or against this resolution as a whole, please raise your placards now. United Kingdom, you be recognized.
The delegation of the UK completely agrees with the idea that this resolution wants to give. Nevertheless, we don't agree with some clauses who propose something, some ideas that can only be done in specific countries. For example, in basic clause A, providing cheaper and simpler material to the construction of buildings. This is impossible to do in countries like Japan or Chile, where there are a lot of earthquakes and volcano eruptions. Also, the resolution expects us to give the same level of education, for example, the UK, that in other undeveloped countries. We think that this is impossible for the undeveloped countries to give the same level of education that ours.
Thank you, Delegate. Is this delegate open to any points of information?
No.
This delegate has opened himself up to any and all points of information. If there are such, please raise your placards. Since there are none, delegate, how do you wish to use the floor? Does the delegation of Switzerland accept the deal?
The Switzerland delegation believes that we should pass this resolution because every child in the world, independent of their economic situation or their gender, deserves to go to school. And this Switzerland delegation believes that this will help to improve our society.
Thank you, delegate. Is this delegate open to any points of information?
No.
Has this delegate received the floor? Dr. Chair, thank you. Any delegate wishing to make a speech for or against this resolution, please raise your placards now. The Netherlands is recognized.
Honorable chairs and fellow delegates, the Netherlands comes with one of the best education systems in the world with a literacy rate of 99.0%. Education is necessary and essential for everyone and it should not be a matter of money or gender. Education is something we shouldn't play with as it is the only way for undeveloped countries and the world to develop. This is why this delegation encourages all countries here present to vote for these resolutions. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Does this delegate open herself up to any points of information? No. Okay, how do you wish to use the floor? Thank you, delegate. We are now back in open debate. Any delegation wishing to make a speech for or against this resolution as a whole, please raise your placards now. Delegation of Iraq. Okay, Singapore, you can recognize.
Honorable chairs and fellow delegates, the delegation of Singapore is really concerned with the fact that there are still many countries where children have been received an education. Furthermore, this delegation would like to emphasize that quality education is one of the fastest and most efficient ways to end poverty in the world. Thus, as the other delegation mentioned before, this delegation encourages all members present here to vote in favor of this resolution.
Thank you, delegate. Is this delegate open to any points of information?
Yes.
This delegate has opened herself up to any and all points of information. If there are such in the House, please raise your placards now. Since there are none, how do you wish to use the floor? Thank you, delegate. Delegation of Iraq, please make a speech for or against this resolution.
The delegation of Iraq does not see this, whatever this is, as very efficient, as even though it seems very long and structured, it's just filled with a lot of big words that don't hold much meaning and also efficient. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Is this delegate open to any points of information?
No.
Thank you. How do you receive the floor?
To the chair.
Thank you, delegate. We are now back in open debate. Any delegate wishing to make a speech for or against this resolution, please raise your placards now. South Sudan, you can recognize.
The Delegation of South Sudan wholeheartedly supports this resolution since we believe that education is the basis of each country's development. Moreover, improving literacy and insisting on respect for others will help to create a peaceful and democratic society, especially in poor countries. For this reason, we encourage all delegations to vote for this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Is this delegate open to any points of information? This delegate has opened himself up to any and all points of information. If there are such in the House, please raise your placards now. Since there are none, does the delegate of South Sudan give the floor back to the chair to the delegate. Thank you. Delegation of Kuwait, please make a speech for or against this resolution. Delegation of Kuwait, please. Delegation of Czech Republic, please make a speech for or against this resolution.
Honorable chairs, distinguished delegates, this delegation is completely agree with the resolution because, as we have said before, the education is the key of everything, and if we educate our population for in a better way, the world will be better, and so we will vote for this resolution and present this overview to the user.
Thank you, Delegate. Does this delegate open herself to any point of information? Yes. If there are such on the floor, please, in the House, please raise your buttons now. Since there are none, does the delegate receive the floor back to the chair or to the delegation? Thank you, Delegate. Delegation of Austria, please make a speech for or against this resolution. Delegation of Austria, please make a speech for or against this resolution.
Delegate of Austria did not want to give a speech, but it's mandatory apparently. So, Austria will vote in favor of this resolution because Austria is maybe one of the only countries in this chamber who is taking really into consideration the SDGs. Countries like Israel, the Czech Republic, New Zealand, France, China, South Africa, Italy, or Argentina are not taking into consideration the SDGs, so maybe they shouldn't be in this chamber. But, first, I encourage everyone to vote in favor of this resolution.
Thank you, Delegate. Does the delegate open himself up to any points of information?
Any other?
This delegate has opened himself to any and all points of information. If there are such, please raise your hands now. Since there are none, does the delegate receive the floor back to the chair or to the delegate? Thank you. The floor is now open. Portugal, please make a speech for or against this resolution.
The delegation of Portugal was completely in favor of this resolution just because at this very incident before in Western universities there is a lot of child that suffer from malnutrition and also from poverty, and with that with the education we can solve this problem, and we encourage all the delegations to vote in favor of this resolution.
Thank you, Delegate. Does the delegate open himself up to any points of information? Thank you. How do you receive the floor? Thank you, Delegate. You may sit down. Any delegation wishing to make a speech for or against this resolution as a whole, please raise your placards now. The Netherlands, you may recognize. The Netherlands, please make a speech for or against the resolution. Sorry? Okay, we shall then be moving to voting procedure. Admins, please stop passing notes and take the voting positions. Any delegation wishing to vote for this resolution as a whole, please raise your placards now. You may now lower your placards. Thank you. Lower your placards. Delegation adjourned. Thank you. Any delegation wishing to vote against this resolution as a whole, please raise your placards now. Thank you. Lower your placards. And any delegation wishing to abstain? Okay, with 26 votes in favor, 5 against, and 1 abstention, this resolution has passed. Clapping is in order.
Okay, we will start debating topic C of the question of the evolution of policies, chemical agents in armed conflicts. France, you can go. Delegation of France, you need to make a speech in favor. You need to make a speech in favor. We changed it. I think it's Costa Rica now.
Dear delegates, honorable chairs, and distinguished guests, we are here in order to solve the problem that all of us are suffering in one way or another. In this case, the abolition of religious chemical weapons in armed conflicts. Nowadays, a lot of countries are suffering the devastation caused by weapons. As a result, there have been more than 1 million deaths, which is almost 3% of the population living on the earth. The data is absolutely shocking, and we need to stop this in order not to be extinct. Thanks to this resolution, all of us can achieve the purpose of eliminating the chemical weapons. From the Costa Rican delegation, this delegate wants to state that this is not a piece of paper, but a solution for a big issue. If we go more in depth into the resolution, we can recognize 3 main messages that this delegation wants to transmit to all of the delegates. Firstly, this delegate wants to state that the destruction of chemical weapons is not an option but an obligation. Secondly, Costa Rica believes that all of us need the utmost importance of renewing the old treaty. This is so because the old treaty use has been shown as inefficient. And the third message that this delegate wants to transmit is that peace is the solution to everything, and so that we can prevent wars, avoid social, economic, and global health crises, maintain the safety of the world, preserve our environment, and ensure a better and sustainable world. Finally, this delegate encourages all of you to vote in favor of this resolution so that we can solve this big problem. Thank you.
Does the delegate of Costa Rica open the South Technical Information? This delegate is open up to any other point of information if there is such in the house where the packets stand. Here that does not orders, does the delegate wish to yield the floor back to the chair of the delegation? What's the delegation? What? Kenya, do you...
The delegation of Kenya strongly recommends all countries here to sign this resolution because it completely solves the problem in every way possible. First, it prohibits and regulates all actions taken by states involving chemical weapons, which cause deaths and long-term health problems to those exposed. And controlling their use of wars is an essential task for world peace and human rights. Second, it controls heavily the transport, production, extraction, possession, and use of chemical weapons for the general population, making the number of casualties
caused by such weapons much lower, which in the case of terrorists and individuals. And finally, it makes states destroy existing chemical weapons left in their territorial waters, which can lead at any moment and do harm to both human rights and the environment in the region. In conclusion, and taking into consideration all the reasons we mentioned, Kenya highly encourages all of you to vote this resolution to have a future world with more rights and less harm. Thank you.
As delegated so to make information. The delegate is open up to any point of information using in the House or the Parliament now. Okay. Does the delegate wish to yield the floor back to the chair to tell the delegation? To the chair. The committee is now in open debate. The delegation wishing to make a speech for against this resolution. Please raise your hand now. To repeat, you have been recognized.
The delegation of Turkey is in favor of this resolution. The use of chemical weapons is extremely hurtful and they should be banned at all costs. The manipulation of this type of weapon is a crime against humanity and a war crime. For this reason, Turkey will continue following and supporting the steps in that resolution proposed in order to enforce the prohibition of the use of chemical weapons in order to avoid a possible war.
Does the delegate open himself to any point of information? This delegate is open up to any another point of information. If there is such in the House, with the Parliament now. If there's no, does the delegate wish to give the floor back to the chair to tell the delegation? To the chair. This committee is now in open debate. All delegates wishing to make a speech for or against this resolution, please raise your hands now. Argentina, you have been recognized.
The Delegation of Argentina is very concerned about the use of these weapons that will not only affect our environment, but also our citizens, health, and economy. This is why we encourage all the present delegations to vote in favor of this resolution to make it right designs, so that we can ensure the reduction of the economy by weapons as well as to prevent future wars between countries.
Does the delegate open himself into any point of information? No. No, yes. Okay. Does the delegate wish to give the floor back to the chair, to the delegation? This commission now in open debate. All those wishing to make a speech for or against this resolution, please raise your hands now. Cuba, you have been recognized.
Honorable chairs, fellow delegates and distinguished guests, this delegation is in favor of the resolution. Cuba believes that the existence of chemical weapons creates a major threat to international peace and security. That's why this delegation believes that the use of these weapons will be easier for countries to talk to each other and will avoid new wars and conflicts. It therefore maintains its position in favor of complete immunity, disarmament, the prohibition and elimination of such weapons. And the Cuban delegation believes that this process should be prolonged in the shortest possible time. And that's why this delegation goes over the delegations to vote in favor of this resolution.
Does the delegate open herself to any point of information? Does the delegate wish to give back to the floor, to the chair? The committee is now in the debate. The delegate wishes to make a speech for or against this resolution, please raise your hands now. France, you have been recognized.
Honorable chairs, delegates, distinguished guests. The delegation of France believes that this resolution is very, very well thought out and actively tackles the problem. chemical weapons are extremely dangerous. There's a reason that deploying them is important. They destroy not just lives, but ecosystems. And this resolution is for cash. Therefore, the delegation of France encourages all member states to vote in favor of this resolution.
The Delegation of France resulting in information.
And
This delegation will have only now information which is in the house with the right now. Does the right relate to you the former teacher, delegation? It's going to take now a debate. Will they to make a speech for or against this resolution to the right now? No one's, you have been recommended.
Honorable chairs and fellow delegates, the delegation of the Netherlands is strongly in favor of this resolution. Chemical agents in armed conflicts are a serious problem for humanity, as these weapons have caused a lot of deaths, such as 1,300,000 civilians during the First World War, or 355 Syrian people during the country's civil war. That's why this delegation is strongly against chemical agents in armed conflicts and signed the Chemical Weapons Convention on January 14, 1993, whose purpose is to institute a global, comprehensive, and verifiable ban on the development, production, stockpiling, and use of chemical weapons. That's why this delegation was to persuade every other delegation present here to vote in favor of this resolution. Thank you.
Does the delegate open up herself to more information? Does the delegate wish to yield the floor to the chair? This committee is now open debate. All those wishing to make a speech for against this resolution, please raise your hand now. South Sudan, the library.
The Delegation of South Sudan strongly agrees with the resolution proposed by the We believe that chemical weapons contribute to wars, crises, and produce severe consequences in the environment, especially in low developed countries. Apart from causing deaths, they pollute the drinking water and produce illnesses and miscarriages. Therefore, we call for a use of delegation to control chemical weapons and encourage all members to vote for this resolution.
Does the delegate open himself to make information? This delegation of health will now one information to present in the house. Please raise your hand now. Does the delegate wish to yield the floor to the chair control the delegation? Who's good? Iceman, do you accept the deal? Iceman, do you accept the deal? I'm going to give you a recommendation.
The assembly delegation believes that the abolition of pernicious chemical agents in all conflicts should be banned in every possible way. And in this clause that Costa Rica, the two nations here, in which all nations, all United Nations, to commit a full destruction of all chemical weapons in possession in order to avoid wars and disasters completely on Earth. That, to the rest of Iceland, is a point of major importance due to the hazard that it poses to humanity. Mass destruction weapons around the world are of major danger to us, and that is why we believe that abolition of malicious chemical agents is and should be done immediately, and all nations should take action. Thank you.
Does the delegate open himself to equal information?
Yeah, yes.
This delegation of China to any and all political mission, if there's such in the House, please raise your hands now. Because then now, this delegate wants to yield the floor back to the chair, China delegation. Which delegation? Turkey, yes, a deal. No, okay. Yeah, we're going to teacher. The committee is now open debate. Who wishes to make a speech for against this resolution? Please raise your hands now. South Africa, have been recognized.
Fellow delegates, the delegation of South Africa is strongly in favor of the delegation as chemical weapons are their service and their problem, which can and usually has terrible and unrelenting consequences that affect thousands of people all over the world. And encourage all the other delegations present here to vote in favor in order to pass this important resolution.
Does the delegate comment herself to any point of information? The delegate is on to any point of information. If there's such in the House, please raise your hands now. Does the delegate wish to give the floor back to the chair, control the delegation? The committee is now open debate. Who is wishing to make a speech for against this resolution? Please raise your hands now. Because they're not Portugal, we will have to recognize them.
Dear delegates from our distinguished guests, the delegation of Portugal is completely in favor of the resolution because it is similar to Portugal resolution. And Portugal thinks that the resolution is going to solve this problem. It's necessary to limit the production of chemical weapons in order to prevent peace in war, prevent wars, and preserve the environment. We need to work together and solve this problem.
Does the delegate himself to any point of information?
No.
Does the delegate wish to back to her?
Yes.
The committee is now open debate. All delegations to make a speech for against this resolution. There is a balance now. And the kingdom we have been recognized.
The United Kingdom completely agrees with this resolution. Nevertheless, we are very concerned about the situation in Afghanistan. We think that it is very dangerous to do nothing in those situations where the Taliban have completely access to the military tools that the USA left there. We are scared that Afghanistan may do an attack to the countries around them or to other countries.
Does the delegate open himself to any point of information? This delegation will allow to any other point of information. If there's six in the House, please raise your hands now. Costa Rica, you have it recognized.
Does the delegate of the United Kingdom have any kind of proposed solution to the situation in Afghanistan?
Yes, we want to enter again that the USA solve the problem that they have done so they can enter again to Afghanistan and bring the country to the real weapons.
Does the delegate wish to yield the floor back to the chair? Join the delegation. Which delegation?
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. Do we accept the deal? Yes. The committee is now open debate whether we wish to make a speech for against the resolution to raise your hands now. Because it's now Central African Republic, we have recognized. No.
This delegation is in collaboration with colleagues from the list that this resolution has passed as this chemical response does not affect citizens participating in conflict, but also participating including environment, animals, and civilians. So it should be applicable.
Let's delegate on social information. Let's delegate to teacher. The committee is now going to debate whether it's necessary to make a speech for against the solution, which is about now. The vote in class will be recognized.
Honorable Chair, fellow delegates, and esteemed guests, the South Korean delegation is against the abolition of chemical agents in armed conflicts. The South Korean delegation believes that chemical agents are needed for the protection of each country. The South Korean delegation thinks there's no reason to abolish chemical agents, but there are other weapons that can also be harmful, such as guns and are not legalized.
Does the delegate offer himself to the point of information?
No.
Does the delegate wish to give back the floor back to the chair?
Yes, Chair.
The committee is now going to debate whether it's necessary to make a speech for against this resolution, which is about now. Italy, you have it recognized.
Dear delegates from the Delegation of Italy, we support this resolution because it is so completely suggests all the business necessaries for this resolution. Thanks.
Does the delegate have himself to the information? Does the delegate wish to give back to the chair? This committee is now going to debate whether the delegates wish to make a speech for against this resolution. Please raise your ballots now. You have been recognized.
Because our country is attacked by terrorism like most of us. So I want to tell everyone it would be a good option to destroy all the
Does the delegate have himself to make information?
No.
Does the delegate wish to give the floor back to the chair? Committee is now open debate. Will the decision to make a speech for against this resolution is with the China, you have a recognized.
Honorable chairs for the delegates and esteemed guests. The Delegation of China always firmly opposes the use of chemical weapons for any purpose by any country, organization, or individual under any circumstances. Thus, China is in favor of this resolution as China believes that international peace and security should be a priority to every member state. We believe this resolution contributes to maintenance of this priority as it states in the United Nations the security of chemical weapons and their possession prohibits the use of weapons and in addition mentions further aspects of this issue such as victims of chemical weapons and harmful websites. China asks all member states to bear in mind the international peace and security and vote in favor of this resolution. Thank you.
Does the delegate have himself to make an information? Does the delegate wish to give back to the floor? This committee is now open debate whether the decision to make a speech for against this resolution to raise the ballots now. South Sudan, you have your recognized. It's okay, yeah, we can. This committee is now able to debate over the resolution to make space for against this resolution. Please read the ballot now. France, you have your recommendation. Costa Rica, you have your recommendation.
Dear delegates, distinguished guests, and chairs, the delegate has resolution report. This resolution is a solution for what an issue is. It's an issue that we are suffering on. This is not a piece of paper, it's a solution for a long term that will survive the solution of the human life. I invite all of you, this delegate invites all of you to vote in favor of this resolution because it's considered to be the solution for this issue.
This delegate from the Southern Recommendation. This delegation of China to be so listen to such in the past. Please read the ballot now. This delegate to you the floor back to the chair. What's another delegation? The committee is now open debate of this issue to make support against this resolution. Please read the ballot now. I recognize. This delegate of information. This delegation of information in this session has to staff. This delegate is to lead the floor to the chair of the delegation. This now open debate will be delegates to make space for resolution. This is a balance now. Austria, you have a recommendation.
Dear delegates, Delegate of Austria will be voting in favor of this resolution, and the Delegation of Austria encourages everyone in this chamber to do so. Then we will go to it, and the Delegation of Austria is coming.
Does the delegate of information? No. Does the delegate wish to give the right to the chair to the delegation the committee is now able to debate whether it is up to minutes for against the balance now. Holland, you have recognized. Wait, no. GK, you have recognized. Does the delegate to receive the chair of the delegation? Whose delegation? Voilà. Go ahead. You have recognized. This committee is now able to debate the resolution to make space for against this resolution to raise the balance now. Okay, time of this resolution as a whole has lapsed. Therefore, we should be moved into voting procedure. We will simply stop passing votes and take the voting positions. All delegations in the board in favor of this resolution, please raise your hands now. All delegations wishing to vote against this resolution, please raise your hands now. All delegates wishing to abstain. With 26 votes for and 5 against and 2 abstentions, this resolution has passed. Clapping is in order. So please sit down, we need to wait.
Delegates, you have a 5-minute break, but you have to remain in your seats. Remain in your seats, please. Delegates, you have 15 minutes break, but you have to be here at 2:05. Be punctual, please. It's really important.
Va a dar un sabor, pues. Se te van a dar un sabor de eso. Pero será que puedes sacar fotos. Aquí fotos, Ah, Telmo, pues ven aquí. Si no vas a hacer nada, ven aquí. Si no vas a hacer nada, además de estar viendo, ven aquí. Solo tenemos que gastar esto. ¿Era eso? Prefiero ya. Cuando termine todo, tenemos que llevar todo.
Now we're going to give the awards. Awards are going by community, where your name is called, please come to the front for your certificate, and then wait for you will be the awards for this paper. We're starting with work. Best position paper, music. Something diploma, UK. Something diploma, Central African Republic. Best delegate, France. Best delegate, Czech Republic. Moving to the youth committee. Outstanding diplomat, Nigeria. Second outstanding diplomat is Hungary. And Uruguay. Next delegate, next delegates are Colombia, and Japan. Now we are moving into the result. So the alternative group is 4, 10. whose outstanding diploma is so Poland. Best delegate, China. Best delegate, Poland.
Dice, best decision maker, China. Best delegate is for Kenya. Best delegate is also for Costa Rica.
Now we are going to be taking human rights. So, first position prepares for France. Outstanding diplomat, Italy. Also outstanding diplomat for Austria. Best delegate, South Korea. Also best delegate for Singapore.
Indeed, as the committee, the best decision maker for China. Outstanding diplomat goes to Israel. Outstanding diplomat goes to France. Outstanding award goes to Costa Rica. And best delegate goes to China.
Now we are going to environment. The best position prepares for China. Outstanding diplomat, Spain. Also outstanding diplomat for South Africa. Best delegate, Vienna. Also best delegate for France. Environment France.
And Tokyo, best decision maker goes to Japan. The third place goes to Austria. Second place goes to France. The delegation is China.
Wat voor leuke dingen nemen ze mee naar huis?
Good afternoon, honorable sir, delegates, and guests. It has really been a pleasure to have you all here for the last 4 days. From the Health Committee to the Arctic Council, we have been debating some of the leaderships of our conversation today. I hope every country has done their best to try and improve the world as much as they can. MUN is not only our young people, but also the start of the process to understand the world refinement and contains our needs. So I hope this conference has to start for the change. Due to COVID, this year has not been the same as the previous conference, but all we can do is a sense of pride for recognition. So as the second MUN BILBAO, I hope you have a little bit of experience and of course that you decide to come back next year. In a few minutes, everyone can make sure to belong to the delegation of the lunch. Most of the schools may be from 30 onwards. Again, students, what you serve here as again, please be talk. And I would like to finish by thanking all the admin team, the communications team, and my wonderful secretariat team for working so hard on this conference. Sadly, as all good things do, this beautiful experience has come to an end. I know that there are many about 2022 officially closed.